Budget. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners meeting. We'd like to begin this afternoon's meeting by calling our public budget hearing meeting to order. At the conclusion of the public budget hearing meeting, we'll transition to our regular board meeting. Chief.
Thank you, Board. So in front of you, you have the information for the preliminary public budget hearing for the 2025 budget. So we've identified our assessed value and history estimate for 2025, the levy rate history and estimates for 2025, our estimated property tax collection for both fire and EMS levies, projected revenue and expenditures, minimum fund balance information. So the first section there, it talks about our assessed value and new construction. You can see how that's changed over the last 10 years. One area that's concerning is we've gone kind of flat in new construction or in assessed value in 2025. So if we sit flat again, that could reduce our collection rate in upcoming years. So we're just watching that and making sure that we're cognizant and saving money moving into the future. So the assessed value for the EMS levy collection for 2025 is going to be 14,644,760. Or I'm sorry. That's
That's the assessed value.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the EMS, different than the fire.
Okay, so the assessed value for the EMS levy is at 14 billion. Sorry, I read that wrong. Then the next section, we assess our levy rates. So you can see how they've changed from 2019 to 2025. Of course, for fire in 2025, we will go back to the full collection of $1.50. And then in EMS in 2025, we anticipate that will only be dropped to 44 cents, only a 1 cent reduction in 2025. The next section is the property tax collection. So what we collected in 2024 versus what we anticipate in 2025, you can see that's a difference of 5.1 million in 2025 in our fire levy. So that's what we'll gain from the passage of the fire levy, the collection in 2025. In EMS, you can see that we have an increase of about 165,000, so not much of an increase in EMS. And that's what happens when our assessed value rate goes flat, those collection rates drop drastically. So projected total revenues and expenditures for 2025 budget, we anticipate property taxes just to be under 22 million. You see that our total revenue is just over 22 million. For expenditures, those are all lined out separately. Of course, our biggest expenditure is and always has been our salaries. We're sitting at about $12 million in salaries, but total expenditures and transfers for 2025, we anticipate to be 24 million. Changes that we made into the fire budget for 2025 is we've added 4 new firefighter or firefighter paramedic entry level positions. So those are new positions, those aren't replacements. That's increasing our firefighter footprint as we promised the public that we would do. We're going to put 1.25 million to transfer into reserve 6258. 500,000 of that is earmarked for future capital projects. 1 million is budgeted for 6257, which is intended to be renamed to apparatus reserve by action of the board if you so choose at your next meeting. And that's a budget that we're going to start building our apparatus purchases in. Increases in our budgeted expenditures include the bargaining unit salaries for a 7% increase across the board. Some of them were higher depending on rank within that CBA. Over time, we increased our health insurance cost is going to increase by 7%. Along with that benefits increase. So other benefits that were affected by the CBA got increased. Supply costs continue to increase, vehicle repair increases. Our insurance has increased due to that payout and some additional management liability insurance we've had to secure. We increased our equipment under 5,000, personal protective equipment, various minor increases across the budget. We increased the triple FB operations by 100,000 now that that station is running full time. And we budgeted for a generator replacement at 62 for 250,000. So those are the main changes within the fire budget. Within the EMS budget, we anticipate to collect 6.4 million in property taxes, total revenue just to be a little bit more than that. You'll see in the next page are the expenditures. Almost $5 million of the EMS budget goes towards salaries, another 1.6 million goes towards benefits. So total expenditures out of that budget are 7.7 million. The changes that we made within the EMS budget is again, that salary increase of 7%, overtime, 7% health insurance cost increase, industrial insurance increase, deferred comp increase, professional service costs, taxes and assessment, and radio dispatch. So when we look at all of our expenditures and what we bring in, we have the total estimated expenditures in both fire and EMS for 2025 listed below. You'll see what our 35% carryover requirement is. So 8.4 million we're required to carry over in fire and almost 2.7 in EMS. So after our carryover, it looks like we're going to carry over about 55% in fire and 43% in EMS. So we exceed that 35%, but keep in mind that we have to plan for potentially a flat year, consecutive years after 2025. And also this one gives us about 15 to 20% buffer for extra and additional purchases that we didn't forecast in this budget. So you see there's other funds that we carry, minimal amount in debt services, minimal amount in reserve, and that's the one that we want to rename the apparatus reserve fund. And then our capital reserve, we're carrying 2.3 million, but the majority of that will be exhausted after the building project is complete. And that is the information on the preliminary budget. Happy to answer any questions.
I just point out when your assessed value only goes up 0.9. EMS, our income is 64,93,780, but we're spending 7,707,000. So part of the carryover is going to go to help balance what we have in the EMS fund. But I'm concerned in 2026 we're going to be in the same boat. So I'm glad you're being careful because next couple of years we could take ahead as far as income goes.
Good question. So the only 4 additional positions, is that correct?
Correct.
We have plans to add additional personnel.
We're only adding 4 additional personnel right now. We do have in the budget for 2 support positions. So those are built into the budget as well, but only 4 firefighter positions.
Okay.
The proposed generator replacement, is that, is there a generator there currently, or is, what is the proposal for a $250,000 replacement?
Well, that's just what they cost, unfortunately, but when we did the remodel at 62, we opted not to replace the generator at the time because it still had some life left in it. So it's been carrying over and we knew that this was coming up.
Oh.
Do you think that?
So that's the original generator?
That's the original, okay, the OG, but these things are a bit fluid because of price changes all the time. The number that I provided to the chief was, we're hoping on the high end, it won't have to be as big a generator as we put at Station 61. So, but as with escalation of costs, they kind of have this expedited service that if you want to get it done, you kind of have to pay. So we'll know more in the first of the year when we get that planning going. But yeah.
And sorry, just to go back to Commissioner Haynes, your question, I should clarify with the placement of the 4 platoon shift. Those 4 positions get us more response capabilities because we're able to spread out people across the board, use the debit days and that kind of stuff. The 4 positions do grow our department response.
Okay, thank you.
So 6257 reserve. We're going to rename it the operation. Right now, we have 114,000 in that. And we have to pay for 2 fire engines in another year.
Yeah.
If we put another $1 million in there, is that going to cover the cost of the 2 new fire?
So the 2 new fire engines that we're buying are coming in 2028. So we'll keep doing that $1 million each year.
And the trucks are.
Trucks paid.
So those 2 engines are not coming until 2028.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some time then.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions? Online questions? Hearing no additional questions. This will conclude our public budget hearing meeting. And at this time, I call our regular board meeting to order and ask you to join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For any additions to this afternoon's agenda? None yet. Thank you. We'll need to read and approve, post as necessary the minutes of our October 17th regular board meeting.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence this afternoon, I didn't see anything uploaded in the packet. Citizen communication, citizens viewing this afternoon's meeting, can communicate directly with the board using the chat feature that will be monitored throughout this afternoon's meeting. Meeting reports, health and safety report,
No report.
risk management group, Commissioner Hayes.
Yes, we have a upcoming meeting on the 13th to finalize our risk management insurance with WHA. And I just want to thank Commissioner Bartel, the vice chair of the Clark Tablets, who was able to kind of handle some work while the chief and I were out of town. So I appreciate his work on that. I'll have more to report next meeting.
Thank you. Fairgrounds Fire Facility Report, Commissioner Wasback.
We meet next week, right?
Okay, meeting next week. EMS District 2, looks like the next meeting here is November 18th. Consent agenda.
Move for approval. Second.
And seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Chief's report.
So the personal action report is kind of lengthy today. We've had a number of promotions with new positions being formed and moving to the Port Platoon schedule. So I'll go through those quick, but this is going to be effective the 1st of January. And I know Chief Schmidt is working on trying to figure out a way that we can do these promotions all at once. So the first one is Brian Baum will be promoted from battalion chief to division chief of training. Chris Bottomley and Ryan Reese will both be promoted from captain to battalion chief. Brandon Bohart, Sarah Merrick, Chandler Webb, Jordan Iremonger, Patrick McGreevy, and Dennis Schaefer will all be promoted to captain. Nate Smith will take a temporary captain position. Then Bill Dunlap, Josh Shernock, Travis Dick, Tracy Wood, Scott Mucci, Brandon Frank, Jason Dunnigan, Walter Russell, Amy Colbert, Dominic Seppi, Josh Lawson, Freddie Beto, Max Olson, Chris Wolf, Michael Reamer, and Brian Legato will all be promoted to engineers starting January 1. So lots of moving parts to make all this stuff happen, and we're really proud of all of them that went through those testing processes. Looking forward to it.
I was assuming Kevin thought he was retired before the.
He will retire in February,
Okay,
so
good
they're
stuff.
gonna do a transition.
Okay, thank you.
That's great to see. Congratulations to all.
Really.
Facilities update report.
So, short report tonight, because they had some work stoppage, but I'll turn it over to Chief Perry.
So yes, we did have some work stoppage, as you all know, from some problems they had with the fire barriers. About 56 days between the time that we had a meeting with the county and the contractor and the architect. But glad to tell you that we finally got those plans for about 3/4 of what was needed. So crews stopped working on Monday and they started working today. So we were only really down for 3 days, but it's been a bit of a ghost town there for, last really month, so. So I have a little bit of work to do on, a fire barrier between the truck bay and the upstairs, meeting rooms and stuff, but we're at least back to work, so. Certainly gonna be a delay in our substantial completion date. The most recent date I had was, February 28th, which I reported last week, but that was a moving target. With every day that we were delayed, it adds more time to the end, so. The general contractor is working up a new schedule for us, but until he got the plans, he couldn't rework that schedule, so I'm anticipating that next week. I'll report that to the chief then. Station 63, we have a permit outstanding with the county for the HVAC system that goes, that heats that building. It's basically a freezing prevention system. So anyway, that's still in review at the county, and that takes forever, so. We have some quick fleet updates. We've got the F-150s and, the canopies and radios, and hopefully be deployed by the end of the year for the public, so. And then the Chiefs Tahoe is still in for repairs. They were a bumper, but it came as a front bumper and not a rear bumper. So we're waiting for that to get rid of that.
Where's the squad at? The new squad?
I think we're anticipating at the very end of the year or the first of next year.
Well, thank you for that update. Glad to hear things are taking back off and moving forward. So, I did read, it looks like you're able to secure the temporary administration space, so extending that rent or lease.
We haven't secured it yet, but we're
You're working on it. Okay.
negotiating with them.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
And I did want to just add for the board that we did meet with McKinsey on the lengthy list of change orders that we had. They're working on some refunds in areas that they taken responsibility for, so
Thank you.
we'll let you know when we hear more on that.
Thank you. I didn't see any old business listed. Moving on to new business, surplus.
So in your packet, there's a surplus list. The board will have to make a motion to declare those items surplus, and it's helpful if you can do that at the chief's discretion if you choose.
I'll make a motion that we surplus the items listed at the chief's discretion.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
There'll probably be a lot of interest from the prize.
Never know.
Life pack or LP 35 purchase.
So the district needs to replace bike packs. We're gonna do it in a series, but the first replacement we wanna do is on all of our first out rigs. So that's a cost for 5 life packs. It's a cost of $276,359.33. This is on a Sourcewell GPO process, so we don't have to go out for bid, but it does exceed my threshold. There is enough funds in the EMS budget for this purchase. The board wants to move forward.
So this is for 5 monitors that outfit the current first. I guess how many life pack monitors do we normally have? I just assumed that they would
We have
have the
9.
primary apparatus.
They want every first out. We have 2 spares, so it's either 7 or 9.
And how old are the I guess I'm not sure what version or whatnot these are.
Yeah, so this is the latest version. It's a newer version than what we currently have. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what the differences are, but the other ones are out to date. The software is not capable with them and they're harder to repair. So it is time to make that purchase. We anticipated that we were gonna have to do it. We thought next year, but if we do it this year, we get some trade-in value and some other stuff. So
How old are the old ones?
We have, that's okay, we have 3 different iterations out there in service right now. The oldest one, I'd be probably incorrect if I gave you an exact date, but it's the earliest era that's available in this latest update, and it expires December 31st. They'll no longer be supported. No parts available, no support from Stryker, who's our outfit that provides these. The next ones are, the newest ones are 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
But we are getting such a good trade-in value on them that it makes good sense to include those so that all of our frontline are consistent and our trainer is consistent. So I have to go back and go through the proposal from the EMS division to tell you exactly what those things are. We can, I just don't have that off the top of it.
I'm looking at the bid, it looks like, so looks like trade-in for LP 15 V2, I'm assuming that's version 2.
Yes,
2 of those, looks like 3 of version 4, and then some sort of loyalty program, there's 3 LP 35 loyalty program. Is there like do we have a renewal plan, or like, I guess, is this part of an annual, a renewal program we have every few years, or?
So yes and no. When Captain Simica was the EMS captain, he wrote a plan up for replacement of these monitors, and we budget for such. So we know like every so many years, we either buy AEDs or life packs, right? And so when when Dennis Schaefer came into EMS, we realized that we had some issues with them, that we needed to do it faster than what Captain Simica's plan was. So this is a year prior to what we initially thought, but it's still the same kind of replacement plan. So yes, we budget for these replacements throughout the years.
Is there? So we're gonna replace 5. And then are we gonna get caught in this predicament where, well, now all 5 will expire at the same time, as opposed to right now, it looks like we have 2, 3 and 3, or? I'm not sure if I'm reading that last part, if those are actual, that's just a loyalty program, or if that's an actual life pack credit we get.
so we have, as I mentioned, the first rendition of the life pack are no longer going to be serviced.
Yeah.
Then we have a second next generation that are serviceable, but there will come a time in the very near future where they will no longer be serviceable. And then we have the new ones that are serviceable. And the reason for asking to replace them, at least those newest ones, more quickly, is because the amount of trade-in that we can get on them if we go whole hog. They're trying to push these out to our area, and this puts us kind of on the front of the curve. So they're giving us more trade-in value. You'll see that there's, I do terrible, but I think it says $8,000 trade-in value, which, you know, everybody says it won't be available after this is your one-time deal, but we actually have negotiated that quite a bit with them, so we're confident this is the time to do that, so we get the biggest bang for our buck. So yes, there are a couple of life packs that aren't terribly old. I believe those are slated to be done next year, though. So the ones that we're asking for this year are those first versions that need to go, and the next ones that are likely coming up on problems in the future.
But to help clarify maybe is, so when we budget every year, we ask the EMS division to give us a budget. And so they look at the equipment and they would know within the next year, there could be potential in 5 years, 10 years that we have to replace all 5 of these at once, and you'll get a big purchase like this again. But it just depends on how they survive out in the field and how things change and that stuff too.
What is the lifespan for a life pack?
Probably about 5 years. I'd say.
We often put them into reserve status after 4 or 5 years, and on how badly they get beat up. Then we use them in training. We use them on times when we have like the fair, or we put another rig in service, or one of ours goes down for service. We'll move that into frontline position. So it's not always that we have a bunch of them to replace all at once. It's usually this rotation that happens.
How many total do we have in the district?
It's between 7 and 9.
Okay, your answer.
Sorry, maybe 8.
Yeah, should probably sure. What is the ProCare products for 9190? Is that, so is that servicing these then? So we won't see a service fee associated. I know we've had some services we paid for previous
Yeah.
auditors or whatnot.
So sometimes when they are no longer on our service plan, then we have to pay cash or whatever for them. So these come with the never ending subscription.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah, okay.
To service them, and so they have them on a maintenance plan that you can expect what you're gonna be paying for.
What do they do, the old ones don't?
They will likely be surplus.
No, I mean, what's this new Life Pack 35 do, the Life Pack 15?
Oh, man.
I don't know why.
Aren't you a medic?
I am, I
Yes,
just,
he's a life.
I am, but I'm trying not to let that influence.
No,
me.
no, that's
Like,
okay.
we're replacing these relatively new units for a pretty significant amount of money, and I just,
You know,
I'm kind of curious why. I mean, it seems like they probably got a little life left in them, but I get we're getting some sort of credit for them. I guess I'd feel better if we said, hey, every 5 years we replace this many units, or every 6 years, or whatever it is. It's a pretty big number. It seemed pretty new, so.
Yeah, if you guys want, we can bring, Dennis Schaefer in and help explain maybe what some of the differences are. But yeah, but there is a replacement plan, so it's fluid, so we do say like every 5 years, we have anticipated like pack purchase, and we do the same with the AVs, but it is fluid depending on what's out there, so. But yeah, if we can table it and bring it back next meeting, if you'd like.
The other,
Are you gonna be here at the next meeting?
I will not, but I will try and call it.
Cause I won't know what questions to ask.
Yeah, I can email. I mean, I can email, that's fine. I will send an email with my question.
Well, the only hesitation with that is the board can't make a decision based on the email. So you just have to bring it back to the board.
That's fine.
want to do that? Sure, just follow up?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Any other life pack related questions? Okay, more to come. Thank you for presenting that. We'll take a look at what life pack 35 versus what's the current version, 1510?
Looks like 15 on it.
15.
All right.
I went off the line for long, so.
I understand. All right. Pay application number 15.
So this is the normal pay application process we go through for the Station 61 remodel project. This one's in the amount of $417,652.54. See my thresholds that requires a motion of the board to process.
I'll make a motion, we approve pay application number 15 for the amount of $417,652.54.
I'll second that.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Officer development inputs.
So, we've been rolling out our officer development program through managing a fire company. Now it is written into the classification plan and into the CBA as this is our officer development. With that, we want to train 7 personnel that can roll out this program internally. So this is a one-time upfront cost to get some train the trainers within this program. The total cost for that is $26,250. If the board approves, there are sufficient funds in the training budget to cover this expenditure.
This training takes place in-house, is that what?
Yeah, it'll take place in-house and then these 7 people can then teach it to anybody that's in the officer mentorship program or any up and coming officers within the department. We're also hoping to roll this out countywide, so they would have the opportunity to do that as well. They're looking at a countywide officer development.
So I have 11B and 11A. Are they,
The registration will only allow you to do 5 students maximum, so we had 7, so I had to do it in 2 invoices.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
So the total is that 26 to
Gotcha. I'll make a motion for 26,250 for now, with the officer development.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the managing officer development invoice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Executive session, I didn't see any executive session this evening.
There actually is for RCW 4230-110G.
Okay.
Sorry, it's in
Thank you on here.
G's.
Board will be moving into executive session this afternoon, 20 minutes, lasting 20 minutes. We'll reconvene at 4:45. That'll be in accordance with RCW 42.30.110 parentheses. Thank you. Board met in executive session and took no action. Roundtable good of the order?
I would just like to commend, our personnel, especially Chief Schmidt, Chief Russell, Chief Mallon, on how they handled our past legal problem. There was a good outcome. I don't know if any of you got an email from our attorney, but I did. Commending how you guys handled the whole thing. You did it right. You did how it was supposed to be done, and obviously the court agreed, and so, thank you all for all your help. That's a good deal. It's a good deal for the department. It'll probably never be in the paper, but that's okay. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for all of the hard work and effort that went into that process.
Yeah, I would say, you know, we touched on it earlier, just the sheer amount of promotions and change in the organization. Just, you know, congratulations to everybody getting promoted, but also recognizing the creation of an engineer position and the ownership that comes with the apparatus. I'm pretty excited with where the organization's headed. Congratulations to everybody.
All good things. We'll need to authorize payment of bills, reauthorization transmittal, authorize monthly commissioner compensation.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.